Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to our virtual roundtable panel session, Tech to Sustain, the conversations for a greener tomorrow. My name is Santosh Jairam, and I'm the Senior Vice President and Global Head of Sustainability at HCL Technologies. Today's panel comprises of a series of 5 episodes with business leaders across the industry ecosystem, and with whom I'll be interacting on how the role of technology is quickly driving sustainable consumerism, and of course, how the strategic decisions of the right technology adoption is playing a catalytic role in addressing the buying behaviors of the consumers. Hereby, I start welcoming the panel members and the industry thought leaders who, in their own ways, believe sustainability as a compelling business lever to help navigate through the changing dynamic industry ecosystem. Uh, the the sustainability calls for a rethinking organization's purpose, core values, and technological innovation. So let me start with the introduction. I should say in no specific order. Let me start introducing my panelists. First, I'll go to Suyog Barwe, Senior Director and Technology Fellow at Macy's. He's an experienced leader, a technologist with knowledge and experience of building highly scalable and cloud native applications in the supply chain domain. Suyog, happy to have you here. Next, we have Fadi Gitraju, a leader, technology leader in warehouse and supply chain from Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits. Over about 15 years of experience working in the distribution industry, optimizing technology, and he's also responsible for warehouse process optimization and technology process efficiency, and of course, eliminating waste using technology. Um, Good to have you here, Fani. And we have with us Yalmar Siddiqui, Vice President of Sustainability of MGM Resorts International. In his role, he is responsible for leading a range of environmental sustainability initiatives for the company, including sustainable events, food-based reduction, and sustainable sourcing. And he also leads the MGM's the resort's ESG disclosures and reporting strategy. I look forward to the interesting discussions with you, Almis. I also have my fellow colleague, Vijay Verma, Executive Vice President of Retail and the CPG vertical in HCL America, and a person with about 26 plus years of experience. He currently leads the retail and CPG business for the North Americas for HCL. And we also have Chevy Megan, who is the corporate innovation leader and digital transformation partner at Avasant. Over 25 years of the experience as an accomplished business development and a consulting leader, having served in multiple leadership roles with specialization in assisting clients with the digital strategy development, planning, digital design thinking, and ecosystem development for various strategy partnerships and alliances. So, really look forward to these exciting discussions and insights. So, maybe what I would do is that I'll start in the same manner I introduced. So, to begin with, CEO, maybe I'll start with you. You being in the retail industry, you have a key role in influencing sustainability on both sides, right? The producers as well as the consumers. So, what are the key elements of sustainability in the retail industry segment as viewed through the lens of the industry goals, practices, the stakeholder expectations? And I would like to hear as to how the technology led sustainability is increasing, or maybe I can say taking center stage. So, would like to hear that from you, so you to start with.
Thank you, Santosh, for the opportunity. This is a really great question and very important one. Retailers being right in the middle of the supply chain with suppliers and manufacturers on one side and the consumers on the other side, they play a very pivotal role in the supply chain management. This topic has been discussed for very long, but is still not a very well understood topic. Supply chain or a sustainable supply chain management is not a single prong approach, but it contains multiple facets or three prongs. Most important, which I can think of, are like the supply chain productivity, the net end to end economic benefits which each of the players in the supply chain would achieve. The second one being the social welfare, the employees, the laborers, everyone involved in each of these links. And the third one being the environmental hazards or environmental impact. Sustainable supply chain management is about like doing the good with all these three links. And I would like to take an example where uh, a retailer being in the middle, where they interact both with suppliers and the consumers, can really have such a large impact. And in order to explain that impact, I would like to talk about few terminologies. There are three R's and five P's in this sustainable supply chain management. Let me expand on them. This was published in a paper titled Sustainable Retailing by New York University, and I'm really fond, and I would like to use this as a framework. So three R's are reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce is about reducing the wastage. Reuse is about increasing the life or usability of a product, and recycling is about like recycling the products and reducing the environmental hazards. All these three play a very pivotal role in what is called as a circular economy, right? Where each of these links in the supply chain, they interact with each other, and then they help to reduce, reuse, and recycle. And the five P's beings, five P's are the five levers, and the retailers are such important part because they have touch point with each of these levers. Five P's are product, packaging, price, place, and promotion. And if you see, a retailer actually controls all of those. So if together these three R's and five P's form a very important framework, and a framework in which you have both consumers and the suppliers, and the retailers being the pivotal party in that. Some examples we can take is like let's talk about reduce and product. By introducing products which are sourced from locations which do not have environmental hazards, which is also called ethical sourcing, and then making those products available to the consumers in the right place provides us an ability to kind of achieve this sustainable supply chain. Another example we can take is about let's take packaging. Packaging is all about delivering the product to the customer and sourcing it from the locations losses, right? Like customer wants something which is fresh, something which is available to them at the right time, and by making right use of packaging, we can not only build efficiency in the supply chain, but also we can reduce the hazard to the environment. So this framework, if effectively
Right.
used, and if the retailer plays a correct role, it really helps us to build that sustainable supply chain.
No, thank you very much. I mean, the three R's and the five P's, and it really helps. And especially in terms of the whole of the supply chain, as you rightly said, sourcing ethically and ensuring that, the places from where you source, not just on the environment side, but also from a social perspective, how do you kind of cover? And I think in the whole of this, the technology will definitely play a big role, because at the end of the day, how does the consumer know? When he picks a particular pack from the retail store, how does that person know what is the origin of that? And those origins, what is the net carbon footprint, or what is the virtual water that product is carrying by itself? And some of these kind of things, I think the whole traceability in the supply chain, I think the technology will play a very important role. And thanks for bringing the three R's and the five P's to the discussion. Um, Moving to
My pleasure.
Chevy, I think I would like to kind of come to you now. Um, I was on being a very strategic advisor to the digital economy. Can you talk about some of those real driving forces that is ushering the sustainable business models adopt the technology? Maybe some examples from your own experience of working with some of the industry organizations where really the technology has gone into creating that sustainable impact.
You bet. Thank you, Santosh. We've seen from the earliest days of the pandemic that consumers around the world said that they plan to make more sustainable choices about how they spend their time and their money. And I'm going to focus on that global consumer sentiment as one of the primary drivers that is enabling that growth in new sustainable business models and technology accelerators. What we found is that many people are actually willing to pay more for products or services that reflect their specific agendas. Imagine the business opportunity that this pattern suggests. So, we found consulting data and preliminary research in this domain that shows consumers are looking beyond a brand to consider the sustainability of an organization's full value chain. And we think this opens up the doors for many companies to create products or solutions that reflect the nuanced concerns of their targeted customers. The demand is not only there with millennials, but we expect it to grow exponentially over the coming generations. And now I'm going to tie it to a case study or an example that you said we've seen real world in the marketplace. So we recently had a multi-billion-dollar global food retailer with significant operations in the U.S., UK, France, and Germany, and they were searching for monetization opportunities and creative insights within multiple data lakes of unstructured customer data that they had. So it was really a classic data and analytics project. But what we found is that our recommendations to the customer went beyond local demographics. It actually tapped into that global customer sentiment around sustainability that I was talking about earlier, which had a downstream impact on their social media strategy and their promotion strategy. In fact, last weekend, I actually saw one of the promotions from this company about how food is raised and prepared with the latest renewable wind farms and solar energy, locally sourced and organically raised ingredients. And their conclusion was that this business model is ultimately better for our planet. What a powerful message it was.
Yeah.
Well, for systems integrators and technology and sustainability leaders like HCL, our recommendation to you, to your fine organization, would be to continue creating space between you and your competition by broadcasting loud and wide your investments in the areas of sustainability to create value-based consumption models as a long-term ecosystem partner to your clients with the same cultural values about our planet.
Thank you, Shivi. And I think we just are about to put out the HCL's sustainability philosophy out there, and we are talking about it in a very simple way. We say act, pact, and impact. The act part is we understand that starts with us, and so how HCL would be looking at the whole of sustainability. The pact is the kind of impact what we can create with our stakeholders, which includes clients, which includes employees, which includes our local community, and the impact what we create. And a very very you talked about the millennials. They talked about the kind of things which people are now interested in terms of buying. And very strangely, the so-called millennials would be almost reaching the age of 40 now, and they are major decision makers, right?
Right.
So
Right.
we when we talk about millennials, we still think about them very young. But I think it is during this decade, I was talking to many of the family foundations and all those things. The money will start changing hands to the millennials, and they are going to be some of the very powerful decision makers going ahead. So thank you very much, and to both Suyog and Chevi